Waypoint Angler Supply Pro, Tommy Parker here. We're just wrapping up the second stop of the Champs Tour on Gull Lake. Finished with 101 pounds in 6th place, which sounds crazy. The boys smashed them. I didn't even know if 100 pounds was gonna win the thing, and there's 6 bags over 100 pounds. So today I was just fishing schooling fish on weed lines, throwing a drop shot with a Gamakatsu 1/0 worm hook and a 6-inch roboworm and margarita mutilator. And then, when that wasn't working, I was throwing an Outcast Stealth Fighter with a Strike King Rage Menace. I'm throwing that on a 854 G Loomis NRX. All these products are available at Waypoint or waypointanglersupply.com. They have many more goodies, but these are just a couple of the ones I was throwing today.
Hey guys, Hunter Wendt. We just finished up the Classic Bass Tournament out here on Gull Lake. We had a really good first half. We ended up in first right after the half. Went out the second half. Thought we had a giant school lined up and they just weren't there. But we scrambled around, flipped on the inside weed line all day, and we caught them pretty good. We ended up running into a school late in the day and climbed up the leaderboard again. So the key baits for me today was a 1/2 ounce Outcast Echo Cage Fighter jig in Moneycroft. Probably the best color out here on Gull right now, in my opinion. Caught everything on a 7.2 medium heavy from Elliott, Performance Bass Model. They're awesome. You should go pick one up. And my backup bait was a Ned rig, of course. Just a staple for Minnesota. Using an Arsenal Deadly Nedley, I think it was a 1/10, I believe, which was key. The slow fall rate was key to getting all the bites and stuff. So, and I was throwing that on a 7.2 medium light with a fast taper from Elliott Performance Bass. So go pick one up, guys. Hope you enjoy the show. It's gonna be a fun one.
Hey guys, Dane Vocelka here, wrapping up the second stop on the Champions Tour Trail here on Gull Lake. Had a decent day. We had kind of a 1-2 punch going, especially in practice. Bagley, they have the deep version of the Sunny B. I used this thing and the B1 to search for suspended schools of bass in this transition zone. From 8 down to 14 foot, there was stair-stepping weeds where they would top off at about 6 foot. I could run this crankbait down, find schools of bass that would come up, and if I was lucky enough, I'd catch 1 or 2, know that they were decent size, and leave it alone, knowing that that was a good area. Once I found fish on these crankbaits, could really dial it in with my Vocelka rods Puppet Master. It's an Aaron Teal Signature Series rod. I would throw these 3/8 ounce and 1/2 ounce goby tubes, which most people throw for smallmouth. Out here, I was flipping that light wire up inside the coontail or around the edges of the foil transition, and this rod really allowed me to sponge up on them, pull them out of the weeds without horsing them too hard, so I didn't rip big holes or lose them on that light wire hook. I only lost a handful of fish today, so that was how I approached the lake. That's how I approached practice. We were just able to walk through and decipher what was our hot areas this morning, and in the second half we just fell a tiny bit short. So congratulations to the guys who sacked them up. I'm Dane Vocelka with the Champions Tour. We'll see you next time.
I'm Kyle Schutta. Just finished up 3rd place at Gull Lake here. Had an awesome day. Busted over 100 pounds. It was a blast. We fished from 2 feet to 20 feet. Had multiple different presentations. I like to cover water with a chatterbait, keep it simple, and just hook and chuck this thing anywhere that a bass might live. And once I found that there was a bass there, try to coax a couple more out. I would switch over to a Ned rig, which is really simple. I think any kind of Ned rig or drop shot or anything would have worked. So I was able to nurse a couple more out with this one. And then also we did get on a little bit of a top water bite today. This is a popper, and we just slung this around on some shallow weed flats and we're able to get some pretty decent ones. So it was a fun day and can't wait till we come back to this place, honestly.
I think I ended up in 2nd today. Couple key baits that I caught them on today were top water, evergreen shower blow. Just throwing that on a Kage, light jig and Texas rod. Caught a couple real key fish on it. I think I caught 4 or 5 on it. A couple nice ones. Another one I caught was a 1/2 ounce jig, Stealth Fighter jig, Outcast. I was throwing that on the evergreen 7.3 casting rod with the 2-loop pitch and flip, and caught a couple nice ones off that too. But kind of what got me through the whole day was this bait right here. Wacky Rig Senko, Kage drop shot rod with a surtate on it. But I caught, I bet 90% of my fish today came off Wacky Rig Senko. Even in the first period, I was fishing a little weed line and I was spot locked, and you could see them all swimming around on your Mega Live. And I tried to throw a drop shot and a bunch of other stuff and they wouldn't bite, but you could tell that they were like 3-4 feet off the top of the grass, and they were just kind of swimming around and eating little bluegills and bait fish and stuff. So the key bait that worked best for me was just throwing a little Wacky Rig around and kind of just letting it fall down to the grass line.
Dean Capra here. I'm going to show you the 3 baits that I used to win the tournament today. We started out early in the morning out in the real heavy weeds, okay? And when you're fishing heavy weeds, you want to flip. You know, you don't cast. I was just using a black blue flipping jig. This particular one is from Northland, okay? Just a little, you know, a little trailer on the back. Cast it out, and, you know, let it get to the bottom and work your way back to the boat. And I had a school that was really hot on them. And I also, for the flipping bite, because it kind of went away later in the day, but I also, when they wouldn't hit the big thick, I mean, this weight, this is like a 5/8 ounce jig, which is kind of heavy. When they wouldn't hit the jig, then I'd go to something a little different. It's called a tube craw, okay? And it's kind of a tube, but it looks like a craw in Texas rig, and it's kind of a cool looking bait. You know, it looks like a little crawdad or a big crawdad. I mean, I caught quite a few of them on this today, but that was on the first half. The second half, the fishing got a little bit tougher, and I still fished a lot of the same stuff that I fished with the heavy stuff, but I had to fish further out as the day went on. And basically, it's just a jig worm. This particular one's just a jig worm with a Senko on it. I switched up the baits a little bit. Sometimes I'd put a worm on it. You know, sometimes I'd put the Senko on it. But I mean, that's basically, you know, fishing the deep weed line. A jig worm's hard to beat, and that's kind of, you know, I caught a lot of fish with that as well. Especially late in the day when the bite got really slowed down. I caught most of my fish on the jig worm.